Welcome to today's workshop, where together we're going to point and click our way to building our first machine learning model with Einstein Prediction Builder. We know that COVID-19 has had a major economic impact on consumer spending and their ability to make payments on time. One major credit reporting agency recently reported that 3.54% of consumers who have auto loans are in a hardship status, which means their payments haven't been deferred or their accounts frozen. This is in addition to the 5% of loans that are more than 90 days delinquent. Being able to predict auto loan defaults is more important than ever. Identifying which customers are likely to default on their auto loans early will give us lenders more opportunity to intervene and to create next best action opportunities for customers to avoid default. Today, we'll see how we can use Einstein Prediction Builder to help us identify customers who are most likely to default on their auto loans. This workshop is for all skill levels from beginner to advanced. The only prerequisite is that you have an interest in Salesforce Einstein. Today's goal is to learn how to predict loan defaults using Einstein Prediction Builder. Salesforce has done all the prep work for us by setting up a Scratch org so we can get right into building our prediction model, reviewing it, and enabling it. And you'll have the Scratch org after the workshop to experiment on your own by creating your own list views and installing the Einstein Predictions component, among other things that you can do. You'll be given a link which, with one push of a button, is going to create a Scratch org for you that contains all the metadata and data and will have everything you need for this workshop. One very important note is that throughout the workshop, it is recommended that you keep the tab open because there is a direct link for you to be able to launch directly into your Scratch org. Also, be sure to take note of your username and password for this Scratch org so you can go back later and do some experimenting on your own. And note that in the future, you'll sign in at test.salesforce.com. Okay, so now while we're waiting for our Scratch org to be built, let's talk for a minute about the kinds of problems that Einstein Prediction can solve for us. Einstein predictions are intended for two main purposes: to make a binary yes-no prediction or a numerical prediction. Questions like, what is the likelihood if a delivery will be on time, is an example of a yes-no question. A question like, how much will this house sell for, or how long will a deal take to close? Well, that's an example of a numerical type of prediction. You'll want to decide which type of questions you want answered before you ask Einstein to create the prediction model. The way that Einstein Prediction Builder works is that we give Einstein historical data so it can build a machine learning model by noting which factors are present in the past positive examples and those that are present in the past negative examples. Once Einstein is given those examples of past data where the answer to the question is already known, he then creates the prediction model, which is used on the prediction set to come up with a prediction score. Because our project is going to answer a yes-no question, Prediction Builder will return to us a prediction score, which will give us the likelihood of default ranging 0 to 100%. Now, our Scratch org should be created and we're ready to launch. Click on the Launch via Credentials button. When the Scratch org opens, you'll see Einstein on the left, and you can click the Get Started button as the first step to enabling Prediction Builder. You'll have to click Get Started a second time, now in the bottom right corner of the screen, and you'll see that Einstein is working on setting up Einstein Prediction Builder. You may need to refresh the page after just a few minutes. We're ready to create our first prediction, so we click on the New Prediction button. Here's where you want to name your prediction. You can name your prediction anything that is meaningful to you and/or that adheres to your company's naming conventions. We entered here the name Auto Loan Default. After you enter the name, you hit the Tab key, and when you do that, your API name is entered automatically. When you're done, click Next in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. On this page, you'll select an object. Now, Einstein Prediction Builder supports most standard objects, plus any custom object. Here, we're going to select the Auto Loan custom object. For this workshop, we'll not be focusing on any particular segment, so we'll leave that radio button selection as No. You'll want to click the Check Data button to confirm that Einstein finds at least the minimum number of records to create the prediction. So go ahead and click the Check Data button now. When you're done and everything looks good, click Next in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Now here is where we'll answer what kind of question are we going to give to Einstein Prediction Builder. Well, here again, we ask, can it be answered by a yes, no, or are we expecting a numerical value? For a yes, no, we're going to get a probability or a likelihood number that ranges from 0 to 100%. For a numeric prediction, we're going to predict an actual value, such as an amount or a number of days. In our case, for this workshop, we're going to be asking the question, is the customer likely to default on their auto loan? And that's a yes-no question. You can tell that you've selected the yes-no choice because the top right corner will be earmarked blue. When you've made your selection, click Next in the bottom right corner. So our object does not already have a field set up specifically to answer the prediction question, so we'll select the No Field option. Because we don't already have a field set up, we'll just have one extra step as a result. So when you're done making your selection of No Field, click Next in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So we're going to give Einstein some examples. We're going to give Einstein yes examples and no examples. So when the screen first comes up, it's going to be expecting the yes examples. And here's where we're going to tell Einstein about our training set for the yes examples. And so you'll see the two different tabs. Next, we'll do that for the no examples. So here, for the yes examples, this is really the behavior that we want to predict. So for us, we're going to enter the loan status for the field, equals for the operator, pick list for the type, and default for the value. Then you'll want to click on the No Examples tab just to the right of the Yes Examples tab that is circled on the screen. So on the No Examples tab, here we're going to enter the training examples that are really the opposite of the behavior we want to predict. So we'll enter loan status for field, equals for operator, pick list for type, and not default for value. Here again, it is important to click on the Check Data button for a quick review before you click on the Next button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So take a minute to click the Check Data, review that, and then click Next. So on this screen, we're going to select the fields that we want to use for our prediction. And a couple of things to note is that it is recommended that you're going to want to use as many fields as possible, because that's going to allow Einstein to find useful correlations using all the fields that are available. There's some cases, though, when you may want to consider removing some fields or not including them. One important reason is that you don't want to include leakers, which are fields that give away the answer, or fields that the model shouldn't know before making a prediction. So in that case, for our example here, we don't want to include the loan status as one of our fields. You also don't want to include fields that provide no useful predictive power, such as transaction IDs or system IDs. And lastly, customers in regulated environments may need to remove fields from their predictive models. When you're done making your selections on the fields you want to use in the prediction model, well then just click Next in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. At this step, we now have to create the field in which the builder will store its prediction. This field is going to behave like any other custom field. You're going to be able to apply field level security. You'll be able to add it to list views, page layouts, reports, or even pull it into Einstein Analytics. The only difference is that you can't update it. So for a yes/no prediction, using the words likelihood or probability could be helpful when you decide the name of the field where you want to store your results. We'll use the field label Lone Default Likelihood, and then we'll hit the Tab key. On the lower left part of the screen, you can decide whether you want to show on each record page the top predictors driving the prediction for a given record. We can set this to on. Note that this feature was added in Spring 20 and allows you to see the top predictors in the records using a component. So if you don't select it to on, then you won't be able to later add the component to a record page and see the results. When you're done entering your field level name and making your selections, click Next in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So here we're going to do a final check. On this screen, you'll review the information selected, and on the left, you'll see that you selected the auto loan object. I've included 14 fields, but you may have chosen different fields, so you may have a different number. And again, it's always recommended to use the data checker to confirm that Einstein has the data that it needs to create a prediction. When you're done reviewing the page, click Build Prediction in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So it looks like we're having success. There's celebration going on here. What's happening now? Well, a kind of auto machine learning magic is happening behind the scenes. Data is being pulled into AWS where multiple models are being tried and tested and the best model chosen. Although results usually do come back pretty quickly, you should allow for the process to take up to 24 hours. So while Einstein is working his magic, the scorecard will not be available and the status of the model is going to show as pending. Once Einstein has created the prediction model, you'll see an alert appear in the top right corner of the screen, indicating that the model is ready for review. If you're still on this screen, you can just refresh the page. And next, you'll want to select View Scorecard from the drop-down menu on the right. The scorecard is your first stop to learn about the quality you can expect from your predictions. In addition, it gives us an overview of the data used in the final prediction and what aspects of the different fields were most useful in making this prediction. You'll look first at the colorful gauge on the left that indicates how accurate our prediction is likely to be. If the prediction quality is too low, this will mean that our model is really no better than tossing a coin to predict mortgage approval, which is not good. A low prediction quality could be the result of insufficient or low quality data. If the prediction is too high, then it's still not good because there's perhaps a leaker somewhere that you should remove. So what if you're in the middle, the green area? Well, that is good, but you will still have to ask yourself, how good is it? Is it good enough? And there's really no simple answer to this question. It will depend a lot on your data and how you intend to use the prediction. You can check your top predictors next. Ask yourself if they make sense. Remember, if there are insight bias or leakers, that would bias your prediction. Finally, do a sanity check. Do your top predictors and their influence on the prediction make sense? Is there any missing information? After considering all those points, if you trust the model, go ahead and enable it. You can enable the prediction by choosing that option from the drop-down menu on the right. Now that you've enabled your prediction model, Einstein will go to work scoring the individual records that were not used as training examples. You can add the Einstein prediction component to the record as well as add the lone default likelihood score to list views so that you can sort them. You can use the lone default likelihood score in process builders and flows, reports, and Einstein discovery, as well as using the information as part of a next best action strategy. And just to remind you or to inform you if you've never installed a component, it's really easy. You can install the Einstein predictions component by navigating to an individual record where a prediction will be made. So in our case, that's going to be where the loan status is current. Then you click on the gear icon at the top right of the screen and select the Edit Page. From the left side, select the Einstein predictions component and drag it to the right. Select the prediction Auto Loan Default, and then click Save, then Activate, then Close. Click the back button at the top right next to Help. And now, not only will you see the prediction for auto loan default for that record, that you'll see the score, but you'll also see what are the top predictors as to why that record received the score. And you can give this a try later. You'll have your scratch orgs for a while longer, so you have an opportunity to take a little time to experiment and learn on your own. So here's some final thoughts. However you decide to productionize the results, you can use Einstein's predictions to work smarter by focusing your efforts on making decisions and taking care of your customers while Einstein does the heavy lifting on the data science side of things. Hopefully this workshop has been helpful in showing you how to blaze a trail with the Prediction Builder capabilities on the Salesforce Einstein AI platform. And best of luck to you.